Danielle Grant is starving.
I'm trying to see if I can get some food because we literally don't have anything to eat today or tomorrow. So we're gonna try to make ends meet and we can but it's like they're not gonna let people starve. That's ridiculous, but it's like no, that's literally like what's happening.
We begin with the return of SNAP benefits after the end of the government shutdown. But the Trump administration says recipients may have to reapply for the program to cut down on fraud. Fox 26's Angie Rodriguez is in studio this evening to share the latest. Angie.
Yeah, good evening, Tom. The Houston Food Bank says they have helped over 25,000 people so far this year, not including an event that they had earlier today. They tell me they're expecting an increase in the amount of people they help as the holidays linger closer and closer. As the holidays creep around the corner, so does a new deadline for SNAP recipients to reapply for their benefits. This comes just after millions receive their first partial payment for food in weeks.
Starve people. Now they want to starve them again. The Trump administration just floated a plan to force every single SNAP recipient, seniors, parents, disabled people, low-income workers, to reapply from scratch to prove they deserve food. Not because there's evidence of mass fraud. No, not because it helps families, but because starving people is now a political tactic. They already cut off full benefits during a government shutdown they created. They already told states to undo approved November benefits. And now the next step, make millions of vulnerable Americans jump through impossible hoops just to keep basic groceries. This isn't about efficiency. This isn't about fraud. This isn't about anything else. This is about punishment. This is about humiliation. This is about reminding poor people that their survival can be taken away at any single moment.
Boy. So we got to talk about the EBT community because they're currently in shambles due to the fact that the Trump administration has announced a new crackdown on waste, fraud, and abuse within the SNAP program. Now, the EBT community just received their food stamps once again after Democrats shut down the government and took away their food stamps. However, again, the food stamp program has come under a lot of scrutiny due to the fact that there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse in the sense that we all know people who are receiving food stamps that probably should not be receiving food stamps, okay? This is why a lot of the individuals in the EBT community receiving these food stamps, this is why they got their hair done, they got their nails done, they got expensive bags, they, ride around in expensive cars and stuff like that because a lot of them really don't need it, okay? And they're using their food stamps in order to fund other parts of their lifestyle. They're living off of the government. And the Trump administration saying, hey, yeah, we want to crack down on this. Plus, we have illegals who are receiving benefits as well, too. Yeah, we want to have more oversight on this program. And I want to talk about it because, again, like I told you guys, the EBT community is in shambles over this new fraud crackdown as they're going to have to reapply, right? The Trump administration has announced that everybody is going to have to reapply for this program. Take a look.
What kind of fraud are they talking about?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. So it's not 100% clear exactly what the secretary is planning to do yet. We haven't heard back from USDA when we sent them an email to request more details because SNAP participants are already required to recertify their application information every 6 to 12 months. And they're also required to update work history, income, et cetera, to make sure that they're still qualifying for SNAP along the way, or they'll get kicked off the program. So a lot of the fraud that Republicans, including Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, are talking about is cracking down on folks receiving SNAP who aren't working, or what Secretary Rollins has said is she wants to make sure, and the president said earlier this week, is that the administration wants to make sure that the folks who are receiving SNAP benefits are those who truly need it, in their words. So Republicans have already sought to crack down on error payments, which are just miscalculations from SNAP administrators, et cetera. So we have to stay tuned and figure out exactly what the department is planning on this.
Yeah, Secretary Rollins this week said that 186,000 deceased men and women and children are receiving a check. They say that's coming through SNAP, and they are citing data from 29 states that complied with the USDA's request for information. So Secretary Rollins is teasing an eventual announcement to basically overhaul the SNAP program in the coming weeks. Do we know how the administration is preparing for this overhaul? If you could expand on that, what are they researching?
Yeah, absolutely. It's still a little bit unclear if this reapplication for benefits is something that the secretary is looking at in terms of her overhaul. Republicans already passed a $186 billion cut to SNAP in their reconciliation package earlier this year. So a lot of the GOP priorities that we've seen come up in agriculture policy discussions in the last few years have already really been passed through that reconciliation process. That includes restricting work requirements, making sure that, just cracking down on folks who have children, changing the age of what they describe as a child to make more people subject to work requirements. So a lot of folks will already get kicked off of the program at that point. So it's not 100% clear yet exactly what else the administration has planned. The reapplication piece could be a key part of that, or some other, new paperwork requirement for folks. What has come across to me in my conversations with Republicans is that their top priority is to make sure that undocumented people and only American citizens are receiving SNAP, which is the current law. But they also want to, address that as well.
All right, y'all, quick break from the show because this is important. Look, we talk a lot here about standing up for yourself, not letting big corporations, the government, or anybody else push you around. But what happens when real life hits, car accidents, workplace injuries, medical mistakes, and suddenly you're the little guy going up against a massive insurance company? Well, that's where Morgan & Morgan comes in. There's a reason reporters never run out of breaking news. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They've recovered over $25 billion for 500,000 clients with more than 1,000 lawyers nationwide, and they're built on one simple idea. For the people. That means when you're hurt, you don't pay them a dime up front. They only get paid if you win. And trust me, these big companies have teams of big lawyers working against you. You need somebody just as powerful fighting for you. When you hire Morgan & Morgan, it's like hiring a legal army that has your back. If you're injured because of somebody else's negligence, you deserve to be paid. So if you've been hurt in an accident, at work, or anywhere in between, don't roll the dice alone. You can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. You can start your claim now by clicking the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen from your phone's camera. Because at the end of the day, protecting yourself and your family isn't just common sense. It's conservative values in action.
So now they're trying to make everybody reapply for their food stamps benefits, bitch. Are you kidding me? So y'all know this whole food stamp debacle. First they was not giving it. Now they giving it or whatever. Then they said they wasn't giving the percentage. Now they saying they giving all of it. I don't know. It's too much damn back and forth. They playing with too many people's livelihoods, if you ask fucking me, bitch. But anyway, so now they're trying to say that everybody that receives EBT food stamps benefits have to reapply, as if they don't do that already every 3 to 6 months. Am I correct? So why do they have to do their application? This is just prolonging the process of people getting their benefits and people getting their food for the holidays. It's like y'all buying time because y'all done spent the money and y'all don't have it. Y'all trying to make up for it. Or y'all just doing it on purpose and being spiteful and mean and evil. They saying it's because it's like over, I think, 100,000, 200,000 deceased people receiving food stamps benefits. Talking about, it's a part of a scam and all this extra stuff. But y'all don't be saying that when the deceased people be getting their Social Security. And the way y'all been cracking down on people and their food stamps and how they qualify, how is deceased people even receiving food stamps? Because now, to even get approved, you got to talk to an agent or talk to a representative. So I'm confused. I don't know. It's a plot and a scheme set up by Todd, bitch.
Did y'all hear this bull crap about the new SNAP benefits rules? Now, 43 million Americans who receive SNAP benefits are now going to have to refile for SNAP benefits in the near future. And when I say the near future, I mean the very, very near future. Very fast. Maybe before 2026. Now, mind you, this is the end of November of 2025 almost. which means we got 1 month left. This is nothing but another way for the President of the United States to still accomplish his goals, guys. This is nothing but another way for them to stop SNAP benefits, food stamps, housing, Section 8, the daycare expenses. This is just another slick way of them doing it. They said, well, we can't find a way to just stop the SNAP benefits completely. So let's find a way to filter it all out legally in a slick fashion, guys. The government is so crooked, man. When have you guys ever heard them pulling a stunt like this, where all recipients has to reapply for it? Now, they do have what they call a every 3 month or every 6 month recertification. Basically what happens is you have to go get recertified every 3 to 6 months to see if your financial status has changed, if you're making more money, if you're making less money. But in most cases, it's all about taking the benefits from you and giving you less and less and less every time you go get recertified, guys. This is the case. This is a situation that the government is pulling in a slick fucking way just to still cut people completely off.
I feel like these people sit around and try to think about how they could make poor people mad or how they could make poor people's lives worse. Because nothing that these people have ever come up with or put in place make any kind of sense. Now, according to the article that I read, they found 186,000 people who were receiving food stamps that were deceased. Now, this can only happen if the people were elderly or if they died from some sort of tragic accident and the family doesn't come in and report that they're dead. So instead of fixing the broken system, you make people reapply. And how is that fixing fraud? And then they want to talk about saving taxpayers' dollars. You want to save taxpayers' dollars? Then figure out how are people able to steal people's food stamps online before they even had a chance to spend it. And then the system now has to come and reimburse people food stamps that somebody else stole. Because this makes no sense. People already have to reapply every 6 months and every year in order to continue getting their benefits. So the only people who kind of get a little leeway is the elderly because they're older. They may not can come in as much as the other people can. So I could understand and see where that 186,000 fraud stuff come in. Then another thing, if they're going to implement this, then they need to pay them case managers more money. Because a lot of them are making just above minimum wage, and they're not getting paid enough to deal with all the drama that doing this is going to come with. Pay them people more money, because this right here is bullshit.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? Again, the EBT community is in shambles, okay? They are claiming that Trump wants people to starve. They're trying to take away people's food and all their benefits. It's not about fraud. It's not about waste. It's about humiliation, right? This is what they're saying. Now, the issue is that these people don't understand that the cause of all their problems mainly is the Democrats, right? The Democrats are the cause of all their problems because, again, the Democrats are the ones that shut down the government and took away their food stamps. Also, on top of that, one of the reasons why the Trump administration has to do this is because blue states aren't cooperating with the administration's goal of reducing waste, fraud, and abuse and reviewing the program as a whole. Because, again, you have illegal immigrants who are on the program, and we're trying to crack down on people receiving these government benefits that shouldn't be getting the government benefits, okay? And this is the latest that the Secretary of Agriculture, Ms. Brooke Rollins, had to say on Fox News about their upcoming plan to make everybody reapply for food stamps.
Let's talk about the reopening of government. Secretary, SNAP benefits flowing again after the 43-day shutdown left millions waiting for their November payments. What can you tell us about the resumption of business? The USDA said all eligible families getting their full benefits today, while the Trump administration announces an overhaul of that program. You're requiring every SNAP participant to reapply as part of a crackdown on fraud. You pointed out data from 29 states showing 186,000 deceased individuals were still receiving benefits. 120 people under arrest for fraud so far. On top of that, New York requirements and a $186 billion budget cut also taking effect. So what? Somebody died and their heirs started receiving their SNAP benefits? Secretary, what happened?
It's just incredible. And, you know, within the first hour of me being sworn in February, this was one of my very first things that we did. We sent a letter to every state. We said business as usual is over. The status quo is no more. We know that the SNAP program is rife with fraud, but it's all anecdotal. This was last February, that we have no data. How is it true that the taxpayers through the federal government fund this $100 billion program every single year, but we don't even know whether it's being done correctly, what the accountability looks like? We want that data ourselves. As I mentioned, 29 states complied, mostly the red states. And what we have found since we started getting that data late spring of this year is just stunning. As you mentioned, 186,000 deceased individuals receiving benefits, 500,000 people getting more than two times the benefit. So they're getting it in one place and then they're getting it in another place. The same person. We found thousands of individuals that were getting benefits in 3 to 4 or 5, 6 different states. I mean, it is one thing after another. And this is just from the red states. Can you imagine when we get through litigation and we get that data from California, New York, Oregon? We know under Biden the program increased 40%. Of course, we believe they were trying to buy the election by pushing more and more money out without any accountability. So this is what we're trying to bring under control. And listen, we always knew it was going to be a really big deal. We knew that it was stunning what was happening. But what the shutdown did, that sort of unintended consequence of the Democrats shutting down the government over the last 43, 45 days, is that one of their favored programs is now in the eye of the average everyday American who says this is not okay. Go fix this. My taxpayer dollars should not be spent for this sort of fraud and abuse, and taking it out of the mouths of families that really need the program. There are vulnerable families in America that need this program that aren't getting it because of the fraud and the abuse that now we're going to work to fix.
Unbelievable. I mean, at a minimum, it's embarrassing that nobody looked at this and it's just like on autopilot, right?
Yeah. So you see that, you heard that. Now, again, the issue is that you have all these blue states led by Letitia James. They are currently in litigation against the government to prevent the government from getting access to the data. Now, why are they hiding the data from the government? Well, the reason why they're trying to hide the data from the government, which again, is just, it blows my mind to even think about that being a thing, right? The federal government gives you money and then the state says, nah, we're not going to give you any data about how your money is being spent that you gave us, right? Again, it just blows my mind. But anyways, the reason why they're hiding the data, right? They don't want to give the data to the federal government is because of the fact that they have people on the program receiving the money who should not be receiving the money. And the federal government is simply trying to have some accountability, some oversight in regards to, okay, well, are these benefits going to the people that should be getting the benefits? Because the liberals will tell you, they will lie to you, Democrats will lie to you, just like they lied to you about Medicaid. They say, oh, illegal immigrants don't get access to Medicaid or free health care. And it's like, they do, right? They just do it through loopholes that the average person doesn't know about or understand. Same thing with SNAP. I've talked about this before. The way that illegals get access to food stamps is, one, these states have food stamp adjacent programs in which they probably mix funds, in which they say, okay, well, you might not be eligible for the federal program, but this state program that's an adjacent program, yeah, we will give you food assistance through that, okay? Also, on top of that, they're eligible if they have kids, right, that are born in the United States of America. So they come over here illegally, and then they have kids, anchor babies. Those anchor babies now become eligible for food stamps. Now, again, the messed up part about this is that even if the illegal immigrant is working, and let's say that they're working above the table, their income is prorated. So it's only the income that the government considers as income that goes towards the child that is counted in the calculation for the food stamp benefits that the family, the mixed household, is going to receive for the children. So even if they're working above the table, all of their income a lot of times is not counted. Okay. Now, if they're working below the table, right, then none of their income is counted and the child receives full benefits, right? Full benefits based off a household where the parents, in the eyes of the government, does not have any verified sources of income because, again, they're working below the table. So that's how it works, right? Those are the loopholes that do allow illegal immigrants to get access to food stamps because, again, let's be real here. Let's be 100% real. all of that food is not going towards the child, right? The parents are definitely living off of it. They're eating the food that they're buying for their children. And this is what happens a lot in what we call mixed status households, right? So you have undocumented parents with children who are technically American citizens because of birthright citizenship. They do get access to these benefits. They're working under the table, so they're not reporting their income, and then they're getting full benefits for the children that they have, and that's what's happening, okay? So, yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff is happening in these blue states that welcome the illegal immigrants into their states to get access to these benefits, and then that allows these states to have more representation in Congress. Democrats go out of their way to have no voter integrity laws or any type of election security laws, any type of voter ID, and it just allows these illegals to, vote, okay, in some cases, right, fraudulently, right? This is what they do, okay? And that's the reality of the situation, and the Trump administration is trying to crack down on that. That's what they're trying to do, and the reason why the crackdown is happening and the reason why they have to do what they're doing is because Democrats aren't cooperating. See, all this boohoo, whine, and crying when you talk about illegal immigrants and the things that the Trump administration is doing is because of Democrats. If Democrats just cooperated, we wouldn't have to do it this way. It would be a lot easier to get stuff done, but we can't because Democrats are obstructing. And as long as Democrats obstruct, then you're going to have to deal with this, right? It is what it is. We're not going to back down because Democrats say, no, we're not going to comply. We're not going to say, oh, okay, well, we're good. We're not going to try to rid out any waste, fraud, and abuse. No, we still have to do it. We're just going to have to do it the hard way. And that's the reality of the situation. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.